Week 1 of the NFL kicking off a week from tomorrow, but it is time to start getting those bets in. Some divisional matchups will see Patriots at Dolphins. Miami sweeping the Patriots last season. Also Steelers, Bengals. Still not sure who will be the Steelers quarterback, but Mike Tomlin looking for his 16th consecutive winning season there. Both of those games, by the way, you can catch on CBS. While the Dolphins did sweep the Patriots last season, Patriots 16-6 in week 1 since Bill Belichick took over in 2000. That's the best record of any team in that span. Bengals a 6.5-point home favorite to begin their quest to try to make it back to the Super Bowl. Let's welcome in our betting experts here, Hartstein and Emory Hunt. Now, going into this, we're going to get our picks for some of these divisional matchups in week 1. But we want to know if this is a trend or trash. How much stock do you put into this? Underdogs, week 1 divisional games, 28-9-2 against the spread since 2014. Larry, we'll start with you. Is that a stat that you pay attention to?
Well, it's striking, but I think the books are well aware of that stat, and they have built that into some of these spreads. And the other thing is, I think it's based on familiarity. A lot of these teams that we're going to talk about have new coaches, new offensive systems, so that won't really, I'm just going to look at the matchups that we're looking at, and I don't rely so much on that historical trend, but it is striking.
Yeah, I don't rely on it at all. I just look at the rosters and look at the matchups like Larry talked about. It's about who has the better team and who's playing better football coming into the regular season. We know this is essentially the 4th preseason game because a lot of teams didn't play starters, but certain teams take the preseason seriously, and that reflects in week 1.
All right, so let's get into some of these picks here. Patriots at Dolphins. Tyreek Hill with his new team. We're waiting to see what Tua has to offer. Mac Jones, for that matter, here. Dolphins are favored by 3. The total is 45 and a hook. Emory, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this is tough because I do like the Dolphins to win this game, but if we're making a case for a week 1 upset, and it's funny to talk about the Patriots in that regard, you can see Bill Belichick scheming together some sort of plan to really frustrate this run game and this play-action passing game of Miami. A lot of people are focused on the unknown here, so if you're going to trust the Patriots, trust in the fact that Belichick and his scheme will help push them over the top, especially in week 1.
Well, Belichick is going to have to come up with something because Joe Judge and Matt Patricia did nothing with the offense all preseason. They were embarrassing against the Raiders' backups. The New England Patriots starters could not even move the ball. Mac Jones was under pressure, no holes in the running game. Receivers, like Devontae Parker, not separating. Meanwhile, the Dolphins come in with a lot of explosive weapons and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, a brilliant offensive mind, and Mike McDaniel. They upgrade the running backs. They upgrade the O-line. I think this could be a blowout, and I'm definitely laying the points.
We get a great matchup, Raiders at Chargers here. Rematch of that Week 18 game to see who punched their ticket to the postseason. Devontae Adams now with the Raiders, but it is Justin Herbert and the Chargers who are favored by 3.5. The total is 52. Larry, we'll give you a first stab at this one.
This is another one where I can't back the trend. I mean, we did see a classic finish last year, 35-32, the last game of the regular season. But the Raiders are just so disheveled on the offensive line right now, cutting their first-round pick yesterday. They still don't know who's going to start at 3 of the 5 spots. A lot more continuity with the Chargers, and you bring in Khalil Mack to pair with Bosa and Derwin James on that defense. I love the Chargers in week 1.
Now, this is one I believe in. Take the Raiders in the points here. A lot of talk all offseason about Justin Herbert did this, Justin Herbert did that, Justin Herbert had a baby, all this stuff, right? But no one talks about how the Raiders really ran the football rather well in the preseason. I think that carries over. Run game defense travels well. I think he'll do a great job in helping them secure the win. So I am definitely taking the Raiders in the points here. I still have to wait and see if that Chargers run defense shows up and ready to stop someone running the football down their throat.
Let's go to the team that no longer has Devontae Adams. Packers at Vikings, week 1 there, but of course they do have back-to-back MVP Aaron Rodgers here. Packers favored by 2 on the road. The total is 48. Emory, go ahead.
Listen, in real life, I love the Packers to win this game because we talk about this all the time. People are now believing in Texas. The U is back, all this stuff. Kirk Cousins is going to lead this team to the Super Bowl, right? But no, they're going to get drummed in this ball game. But if you're making a case for the Vikings, like I'll do here, the Vikings do have an edge at wide receiver. They do have a slight edge in continuity in terms of what they are going to do up front along the offensive line. And their defense, I feel like, will be much better this year. So it does give them a quote-unquote puncher's chance in week 1. So in that regard, you can definitely back the Vikings with some confidence.
I love what the graphics team just put up, and that's just a smattering of the offensive talent on the Vikings. And I think Kevin O'Connell, this coaching change, it's an offensive league. It's a passing league. You had Mike Zimmer stuck in his old ways, a defensive mind, just wanted to pound the ball. And this guy, Kevin O'Connell from the Rams, is going to be so much more aggressive. Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Osborne, Irv Smith, Dalvin Cook, these guys are all going to go off. Kirk Cousins is good enough to get them the ball. And, the Packers, what did they do week 1 last year? They didn't seem prepared for that beatdown they took to the Saints. I think the Vikings win this one straight up.
Saints at Falcons. Emory, both you and Pete Prisco bullish on the Saints this year. Falcons, of course, projected to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Saints are favored by 5.5 on the road. The total here is 42 and a hook. Emory, got faith in the Saints in this one to cover?
Absolutely. They're playing their hated rival, the Atlanta Falcons, and they are going to beat the Falcons up on both sides of the line of scrimmage where they have the significant advantage. That defense line of New Orleans is 3 deep at all positions, and that's going to be a problem for a Falcons offensive front that had issues in pass pro coming into the regular season last year, going into the preseason. So I think the Saints will win this one up front and start the Jameis Winston comeback player of the year and MVP parade right there in Atlanta.
Yeah, and Jameis has got a lot of talent to work with. This offense is going to be so much better this season. And I don't think the Falcons will have any home field advantage at Mercedes-Benz. I think there'll probably be almost as many Saints fans. I can guarantee they'll be louder. Falcons did not cover any of their last 7 home games. This is a total rebuild for Atlanta. I'm with Emory on the Saints.
Agreement there. Let's go to Steelers and Bengals here. Bengals trying to run back their success from last season. They did work to improve that offensive line over the offseason. Mike Tomlin being a little mum on who's going to start for the Steelers when it comes to quarterback. I'm not sure if it necessarily matters in this game. Bengals are favored by 6.5, the total 44.5. Larry, we'll start with you. And what do you think about not knowing about the quarterback situation right now?
I think Mike Tomlin is more worried about the injuries that his team suffered. TJ Watt and Deontay Johnson left that final preseason game. They should be okay to play. But then you have Najee Harris saying that he's dealing with the foot sprain. And then DeMonte Casey, a safety they signed, he's having surgery, so he's out. So I think the Steelers not as much continuity there. And you look at the Bengals, they really had one weakness last year, and that was their offensive line. And Joe Burrow overcame that all season. And now you bring in Kappa and Karras and La'el Collins. I mean, this line is going to be better. I love the Bengals, and they put it on them last year. It was 31-0 or 31-3 at halftime, 41-10 at Paul Brown Stadium. And I don't think it'll be quite that bad, but I do like the Bengals to cover.
I agree with you, Larry, but I'll make the case right here for Pittsburgh. You look at the defense, and I expect TJ Watt to play, and he'll be ready to go. They said if he was to play in that game last weekend against Detroit, if it was a regular season game, he would have gone back in that contest. I still have to wait and see with this Bengals offensive line. They do have a bevy of weapons across the board. Defensively, that secondary is improved as well. But the Steelers, I feel like with the run game, they have a bevy of backs now at their disposal, and also their defense will be enough to where they can keep this one close under that 6.5 point spread.
All right, finally, last game we're going to look at here, Colts at Texans. Matt Ryan making his debut with his new team. Colts favored by 8 in Houston. The total here is 44.5. Emory, what do you think about this game?
I love the Colts in this one. This is the best team Matt Ryan has been on since that Falcon team went to the Super Bowl. He has a great run game, solid offensive line, excellent weapons at receiver. Their defense is going to be better. And a lot of people talk about Davis Mills and all the passes he completed, but he was averaging, 5 yards an attempt? That's essentially handing the ball off every play. I think the Colts roll in this one. I'm laying those 8 points with Indianapolis.
This is where I think the trend will hold up, because that's a lot of points to lay with the team that runs the ball, that wants to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor. When they get the lead, I think they will also be trying to pound the ball. And the Texans could get down 14 and still cover. Davis Mills did that very well down the stretch. Last 7 games, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You get Pep Hamilton coming in to energize the offense. And what about that rookie, Dameon Pierce? And this guy was electric in the preseason, so much so that they cut Marlon Mack. So I think Davis Mills is legit. I'm not saying the Texans are going to be a good team, but yeah, they can lose this game by a touchdown.
Larry Hartstein, Emory Hunt, we appreciate it. Larry, take care of that voice, get some medicine. We need you. Week 1 college football, week 1 NFL next week as well. We'll talk to both of you guys very soon. If you would like some more winning picks from our friends over at Sportsline, you can join for just a single $1 right now. Go to sportsline.com/join. The promo code, you see it there, is TROPHY.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.